Hi guys, Darth Deuces here, back with our Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today, taking a look at another figure from, as of recording this, uh, one of the recently released wave. It is the new Phantom Menace Darth Maul, of which we've needed a new one for a long time. The Phantom Menace Darth Maul was, of course, part of the very first wave of Star Wars The Black Series figures way back, and I think 2013 is when the line started, so over 10 years now. And at the time, the figure was pretty cool, but that figure, that body mold, has aged pretty horrendously, especially when it comes to articulation. But they've reused it for a decent amount of figures. Unfortunately, Nihilus was one of those, and I still like that figure, but but they finally can retire the old body because we've got the new figure, and I gotta say it's really great. So surprisingly, I did pre-order this figure, but I pre-ordered it really late. um I don't know. I think I just assumed he probably wouldn't be that hard to get. And also, there's actually three different ways you can get this figure. You can either do what I did and get the single release, which is what I have right here, which is also your cheapest option. You can get it in the 3-pack with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn as well, which is what I would recommend if you don't have any of those figures, but I do have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon already. And then there's also the SDCC exclusive Sith Speeder version, which comes with obviously the Sith Speeder and a few other accessories. And I think the only other difference is that version of the figure has soft goods, lower robes. And I was kind of back and forth. I knew I didn't want the 3-pack, but I was thinking about getting the exclusive. But honestly, I don't have the room to display him on the bike. I probably wouldn't even want to display him on the bike. And it was just, I think, way too expensive for what it was. It's already going on discount. Like, you can get it at GameStop in Canada, and it's already gone on discount. So if it goes like on a deep discount, maybe I'd buy it just to have it. But yeah, I decided to go with the cheaper option right now, and I got this even cheaper because for some reason I pre-ordered this in Deidre, who I previewed previously, from Walmart really late, because for some reason they had the pre-orders for 11 bucks off each figure. So that's significantly cheaper than the retail price for Black Series figures in Canada. So I got this guy for a really good price, so I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, let's take a closer look. He's really good, really good. Take a look at the head sculpt. I am a pretty big fan of it. I think it's a really cool Darth Maul sculpt, but, and this might not make a whole lot of sense, it's not a great like Phantom Menace Darth Maul sculpt, I don't think. Like, it looks good, but it just doesn't really, and I can get that it's hard to capture, but I just don't think it really looks like Ray Park in the makeup. I just think it kind of looks like this is gonna sound weird. It looks like Darth Maul, but it doesn't look like Ray Park as Darth Maul, if that makes any sense. Like, I almost get more animated vibes off of this head sculpt. I really like the expression. Like, all the other Darth Mauls after the original one have all had like open mouths, like gritting teeth or whatever. This is the first one in 10 years that has had the just closed stern look, which I think I like. The eye printing looks really nice. The tattoos I think look pretty clean, although there's something about the mouth area that I'm not super sold on. I don't know if it's maybe too much black or something, or I think it's actually that these tattoos should be up higher and closer to his lip, and they're not. I don't know why, but aside from that, I think it does look really good, but I just don't really see Ray Park in it. And I think it's something that Hasbro kind of struggles with. Like, most of the Black Series figures, Maul figures, it doesn't really look like Ray Park a whole lot. I actually think the original figure, the hooded sculpt for the original figure, I think might actually look the closest. I'm not going to lie. I'll do a comparison with all of them in a few minutes. But the rest of the figure looks really good. The sculpted robes, and I think proportions look a bit better. I like that you have the base sculpt of the torso, and then this piece of like fabric that goes around his neck is actually a separate sculpted piece that's then glued onto the back of the neck and maybe here as well. So it gives the illusion of layers of cloth, even though it's just layers of plastic. But I think it looks cool. And the arms look good. The gloves are somewhat glossy. They're not too glossy, but they're somewhat glossy, along with the black belt here, which has some, looks nice. And then the lower robes, they are plastic. Like I said, only the Sith Speeder version has soft goods, and honestly, I do prefer the plastic. They're pliable enough where they don't get in the way of articulation, and they do just look a lot better and a lot more uniform than the original Maul and the one that has the soft goods. So I do like this a lot. I think it looks really good. Pants are pretty basic looking, but the sculpt of the fabric, or to simulate the fabric, looks nice. And then you've got the boots that again are like semi-gloss. They're not like a full black gloss, but they're enough to differentiate them from the cloth, or the cloth of the figure. So yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There's not a lot of paint aside from on the head sculpt, so he's mostly just black after that. But I think it looks pretty nice. Really big fan of this looks. In terms of articulation, he's really well articulated. I would say Hasbro definitely took everything they've learned in the past few years with articulation and applied it to this figure. So he has a dumbbell joint in the neck as well as the base, base of the head and the base of the neck. So he looks up an okay amount, looks down a bit. You get decent like rotation and like pivot, so that's pretty good. Shoulder joints move out about 90. They rotate. And then he probably has some of the best butterfly joints I've seen on a Darth Maul figure. He can go pretty far back, or not Darth Maul, Black Series figure. He can go pretty far back, can go decently forward. He can go even more forward, but if you push it too far, I do think I'm popping it out of the joint a bit, but it doesn't fall out, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, there's a pretty good butterfly there. Single hinges at the elbow move pretty deep, honestly, for how poofy his upper sleeves are. They're sculpted so that they can still get some good articulation, which is great. He actually does have a gauntlet or glove cut, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of pointless, but you know, swivel the wrists. And then he does have the new ball jointed or ball and socket joint wrists. You can go in and out or up and down. So I really like that. That's great. He has a torso joint, which goes back a pretty decent amount actually. Crunches forward just a little bit. A little bit of pivot, and then you do have rotation. You have your hip joints. They can kick pretty much all the way out, even with the plastic. You can do a full splits, which is good. He does have swivel cuts at the thighs instead of the newer style thing they've been doing with just a wider cut at the hip joint. But I actually prefer the swivel cut on this one. Single hinges at the knees that move a bit, actually a fair bit past 90. And they rotate, of course. And then the boots, there is actually a boot swivel, but it just, because of the way the boot's sculpted, it doesn't move super, like, you can get a decent amount of rotation, but it's a bit hard to get it to go all the way. But it does move. Then you have a hinge at the ankle. Just moves pretty good with a ankle rocker. So a lot of great articulation. You can definitely get a lot of great poses, which is obviously important for this character because he is quite acrobatic. So that's great. In terms of accessories, he is pretty light on accessories. If I was to complain, that would be the complaint. The one accessory he does come with is quite nice, though. It is obviously his double-bladed lightsaber. It is a new sculpt. I really like it. I think it's scaled a lot better. I think the old hilts have been a bit too big, but this one I think is a much more realistic scaled size to the character. It's painted in this really nice silver paint with some nice red paint applications for the buttons, so it looks really, really cool. The lightsaber blades look really nice as well. You can remove one or both of the blades, so you can have them with a single blade and with double blade or no blades. It does still split in the middle, so you can have him dual wielding or just with the one when he's battling Obi-Wan. And it does have a peg, and you can peg it onto the belt. So they were close to doing a really cool thing here. So it's hard to see, but they actually sculpted the right above where the hole is for the lightsaber to go. They sculpted an indent in his cloth to accommodate the top of the lightsaber hilt, so it would have somewhere to go when it's pegged onto the belt. But it's sculpted to look like it's just the fabric moving, like, or has been moved or whatever, so it looks still like natural. Like, it doesn't look like a weird divot in his body. So that's super cool. That is actually a really good idea. Unfortunately, the peg, I don't know, I think it's just the peg. The hole's too big or the peg is too small. The hilt doesn't peg in super securely. Like, this will fall off really easily. You can see, though, how that kind of fits into that little sculpted divot into his torso there. And it looks good on his belt, but, like, now it's not going to fall. But, like, if you're posing it at all, like, the moment you move the torso or everything, it falls off. And it doesn't stay on very well. So that is something to keep in mind. Put the blades back in. We can have them hold the saber. It does hold the lightsaber really well, though, which, I mean, you'd expect, I guess. So I think that looks really good. But yeah, I do wish he would have came with some more accessories. The other two releases both come with this soft goods robe. I don't see why they couldn't have included the robe with the single release. I get they're trying to get people to probably buy the other versions, but you know, the other figure, the original figure came with a whole other head sculpt with a full plastic robe, double blade lightsaber, and the binoculars. This one only comes with the lightsaber. I think he could have came with this soft goods robe. That would have been nice. And I'll say it for every force wielding character. Really would like to see alternate interchangeable hands with these guys. At least some like pushing hands or something. Would just make this posing this figure even more dynamic. Well, I guess lastly we can do some comparisons. So first off, I guess I'll just do the Jedi first. So here's with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and I do believe these are the same versions that are going to be in the are in the 3-pack. They're just reissues of these figures. Maybe with their, I think they might have come with their soft robes too. But I think it looks pretty good with these. You know, you can see, definitely set up some awesome dual the face displays with these ones. Then with our other Phantom Menace Darth Maul, I don't actually have the full figure anymore. So here is the old plastic robe look. You can see actually a little taller, a little bigger. But I actually ended up selling my, this was the archive figure. I actually sold the archive figure, and this is a bootleg body with the archive head and robe. So I wasn't too broken about not getting the soft goods robe, because I do think the plastic one aesthetically looks better. So I kept this one to have the robe look, and then I still have this one for the more in-action look. And like I was saying, I think this head sculpt on the old one is still really good. I think this might be the best like Ray Park likeness Darth Maul head they've done in the Black Series. I don't know why the robed one turned out, because the robed one is different looking from the a normal head sculpt from this archive figure. I don't know what it is, but they just did a really good job on this hooded version. I think this one does look the best, honestly. Like I said, I still think this one's super cool, but ain't gonna just look here. Then for more Darth Mauls, here he is with the Sith Apprentice publishing series Darth Maul. And again, I think this one as well. This one and the old Master Maul, I think, also have a better Ray Park likeness with the teeth girded like that and everything. I don't know what it is. I just think my focus is all out of whack, but oh, come on. You can kind of see. Still like this. Oops. Still like this Sith Apprentice one. Like, I'm not going to get rid of it or anything, but you can kind of see how different they are. Then here he is with the Clone Wars Darth Maul, which I feel like this head sculpt is more similar to this one. This one also has like the open mouth, the gritted teeth though. I do like this head sculpt better than this one. This one might be my least favorite Maul sculpt, I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad, but then my previous favorite Black Series Darth Maul, here is old Master Darth Maul. He's a bit dusty. I haven't touched this figure in a little while, but you can kind of see. I don't know. Let me see if I can do it real quick. Oh, I'm just curious to see if I can pop off the head sculpt on this one easily. The peg came with it. Okay, it's not going to be perfect because the peg came with it. But I do think if you wanted to swap the heads, this one would look pretty good. In some ways, I feel like this old Master head sculpt is a bit more appropriate for this body than the other one. Yeah, like I said, the peg didn't come with this one, so I'm trying to imagine here a little bit, but I think that looks kind of cool. I don't think I'll end up actually doing that, but it was something I was at least curious about, that's for sure. Put the head back on here. Tough thing with removing Darth Maul head sculpts. And especially this new one. This new one's horns are friggin' sharp. I'm not gonna lie to you. But that's good, because the old ones, he was too stubby looking. But yeah, overall, I think this figure is really good, actually. It's awesome. This is the upgrade I wanted for Darth Maul. I don't really know why I wasn't more hyped for this figure before I got it, but I am hyped for it now. It's really great. Either way you get it, the 3-pack, the exclusive speeder version or this version, if you collect Black Series, I think this is a must-have. You know, it's Darth Maul. Unless you really don't collect prequel stuff, you got to have this figure in your collection. It's awesome. It's an awesome upgrade. It's definitely worth upgrading, and I highly recommend it. It's probably up there with my favorite Black Series of the year. Does it take the absolute top spot? I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little more. In terms of all the Darth Maul Black Series that I have, I 100% think it's the best one they've done so far, and it's definitely taken the spot of my favorite Black Series Darth Maul in my collection. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.